Alright guys, we're in the elevator and this morning we are going to meet up with a chap called Ed, and then we're going to go out to the woods and ride around some local mountain bike trails. And if this seems like a very similar video to one I did just recently, that's because Ed, the guy I'm going to meet today, saw the video I did with Craig very recently and he said, hey, I'm local, I'd like to meet up for a ride. So that is what we're doing today. There he is. Master Wilson, I presume.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to meet you, man.
Yeah, good to meet you.
Where did you come down from?
A tiny village outside of Sherborne.
Outside of Sherborne?
So, yeah, quite away actually. But I made
20
it,
miles or
in
something?
perfect timing, yeah.
Yeah, perfect timing, right. It's all up for grabs, everything is up for questioning. And we're saying, well, I don't actually need to have all the answers. I don't actually need to have all the truth, which is a very different thing to how people think it is.
From my perspective, I sort of think it's a lot of effort to fake it, I guess. But
Yeah.
But yeah, like you, like I'm leaving it open to sort of possibility in my head now that it could be.
I don't think you can go into it directly and just go, okay, so, you know, try and prove to me that it's not a globe. If you come at it that directly, you're never going to get it.
Matrix of science and yeah.
You have to understand how much deception there is, how much uncertainty there is in things that are taken for granted. We just happen to live in a blip in the evolution of human understanding of how reality works, where we happen to have just all of our academics and all of our leaders, even the true theologians are kind of just agreeing with the materialist paradigm, but it's really just a blip. Because already we've got like the quantum physics angle telling us that this materialist stuff is not real, and there's all these people coming out and saying, you know, Hindus and Buddhists and people who meditate a lot, people who have transcendental experiences, and they're saying, well, we know it's not. We know for a fact through personal experience. They know that materialism is not the be all and end all.
What's the Saturn return or something on the 27th?
Oh yeah.
This is the theory that people have for their like a big shift in their life.
Yeah, it's the true coming of age ceremony, astrologically defined.
Were you 27 when you sort of had your awakening or whatever?
Well, I mean, you know, there were little steps, little stages, but the Saturn return was definitely one of them. And I was right in the middle of it, thinking, why can I suddenly not relate to anything that I used to be, and why is my whole life seemed to be just in turmoil all of a sudden. And then I discovered that concept, Saturn return, and suddenly it all made sense. And when I took that and said, okay, let's do an experiment, and all of a sudden everything made sense and everything started going smoothly, and I began healing miraculously. But I don't honestly believe it's the movement of a planet or the movement of a wandering star, whatever you want to call it. It was my belief. By taking it on board and taking it to heart, almost every single day I thought about it. Every time I came to a decision where it was like, am I gonna smoke a cigarette? Am I gonna drink some alcohol? Am I gonna eat a hamburger? And I thought no, because I'm being tested. And the biggest test was actually lust and sex. And that's particularly what Saturn was testing me on, because my Saturn was in Scorpio. Really, we're creating the experience ourselves. That's just how I described it to myself through the terms I learned from looking at this one astrological concept.
The whole thing that everything that you sort of pushed out.
Yeah, that's all there is.
Yeah. I'm not fully there yet in terms of...
Me neither, no. So, go that way and we'll look for a mountain bike trail, because we're pretty high up, aren't we? Alright, there's one, but we're at the bottom of it. It's got a jump, but it's, you know, you've got a choice to go around it. They're pushing up, maybe we should follow them up.
Yeah, join the brigade a little bit.
Yeah, that is definitely a jump. I don't think this is the bike for jumps, really. There's always a way out though, isn't there? There's always a way you can go round it. Yeah. Hi guys. What's this one like compared to that one we just walked up then?
I don't know, I haven't been down today. They're all pretty boggy.
This one looks fucking lethal.
Yeah, struggle to...
I fell off twice coming up, yeah.
You got a bit of extra weight on that one.
Got a bit of extra weight. Helps you go downhill though, doesn't it, right?
Traction there.
It's a bit above my pay grade.
It's out of bounds. Yeah, your weight limit probably.
Nice. Well, I know without even looking at the video that that's not going to look nearly as scary as it did from the top. It never does on the on the GoPros, but
you need the depth, don't you? Really, sort of capture. Just looks a bit pathetic from there.
Yeah. Just making excuses, but we need something far more mellow than that for this monstrosity. You remember this?
Yeah.
That looks like a pretty advanced technique to me.
It really is, yeah. I remember doing it though as a kid. You just have that invincibility complex. I think.
Right, yeah.
Whereas now I'm so much more cautious.
Mate, you wait till you got another 10 years behind you.
Yeah, it's dodgy.
It's what?
Like, shadow banned in terms of it doesn't come up in people's recommendations as such because of like the warnings for like, you know, flat earth or whatever. Is that
is a good question.
You know how YouTube works, yeah.
That's a good question. No, I don't know how YouTube works, but it's something I've looked into. I mean, obviously we know there's such a thing as an algorithm.
Yeah, because I just assume you would have had like more viewers, to be honest. You know what I mean? In terms of there are a lot of people into these things.
Yeah.
And it's still good because, like you said, you have like, you know, like 1,000 people. That's still a lot of people, really, when you actually.
And half of them came from a flat Earth video.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one video I had that went viral.
Like documentary style sort of ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just a 27-minute debunking of a debunking type video.
Okay.
Nothing too incendiary, but just he was making interesting points and I was making interesting points because he was an astronomer, and obviously astronomers are experts. They know exactly what the Earth is and exactly what space is, but you could tell from his body language and his facial expression that he clearly didn't believe it was a proof of a globe when he said that you can see ships disappearing over the horizon. As he said it,
it's something in his psyche that his senses
he
can't
kind of
actually verify that in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was saying it like, oh, it must be true because I know it's a globe, but you could tell he hadn't really observed it himself.
Yeah.
You know, the way he looked away or the way he said it.
It works, yeah.
You can really tell.
Back on others' ideas in a way.
Yeah.
In terms of, you know, he didn't come up with those astronomy ideas. It's sort of learnt information, whereas
and the pressure
going over the horizon is his own experience, I guess. And as you say, like, your experience is the only truth.
Pretty much every proof he gave were the same kind of proofs I would have given if someone had asked me, you know, before I started experimenting with these such ideas. Yeah, what, you know, how do we know it's a globe? So
it's interesting, like, how your ego sort of nags you, like, this idea is insane. Because, like, similarly, when I've always heard of the flat Earth and sort of disregarded it, even though I was sort of into conspiracy theories and stuff like this. And then the first time someone in person sort of brought it up to me, in my head, it was, you know, there was like a little tick box, like, this is crazy. And I still listened though, you know what I mean, trying to be open-minded, and did my own research, and now I am open to that. But having not actually really researched it enough to hold a good conversation about it. But
the important thing,
that conditioning, isn't it, in everyone's heads, like, nope, this is stupid, shut it down. Like, you've already learned.
Yeah.
The globe,
well, you just have to become okay with that. You just have to be to truly be open-minded. You have to be able to put that thing on a back burner and then go and have a look for yourself. But the important thing is just to be able to let go of things and put things down rather than pick other things up and cling on to other things, because that's what we're doing. We're clinging to the old way of doing things, and we're supposed to be evolving as a species.
Yeah, and we very much have that view that we are pretty much complete now in terms of
mad.
science.
Yeah, it's absolutely mad.
We have that in Victorian times, like, we know most things.
Exactly. I mean, we're just living in one tiny little sliver of human experience, human knowledge, and it's going to be so different in even just 5 years' time, 10 years' time. It's going to be unrecognisable.
Yeah. Have you heard of Jeffrey Epstein or?
Only the name, and only in relation. But I gather he was famous for doing something before he was.
That's the thing that's strange as well. He wasn't really famous for doing anything. He just was inexplicably like a billionaire. You know,
okay.
An international financier, and his money can't really be tracked.
Okay.
He was essentially just like a procurer of children for elites, which is, I don't think it's even really a conspiracy now. It is sort of in the mainstream.
Okay, so that's exactly the kind of thing that David Icke talks about, and others similar to David
100%.
Icke. And he was outed publicly in the mainstream media as doing this kind of thing. Kind of like Jimmy Savile was.
Yeah, exactly the same as Jimmy Savile. Epstein was, you know, like going through the official New York court system and then killed himself in prison, which is where it almost became a meme, even though it's a very serious topic. It almost became a meme, like Epstein didn't kill himself, because it is such like a ironic sort of thing. Like, oh, of course he killed himself before he could give up these names.
Fucking hell. Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a fascinating rabbit hole to go down. But the point I was going to make about it is just the fact that it was very much like an awakening, I think, in the mainstream of like, oh shit, things aren't all fine and dandy, because this guy was personal friends with Bill Clinton, Donald Trump. They'd flown together in private jets all the time. He had like a private island, which like God knows what's going on there. Prince Andrew, the Queen's son, was personal friends with him. And he's sort of been.
I know. I've heard something about him
now, because of that.
Yeah, but this is. I'm so disconnected from the mainstream media because
it's good to be so. Actually.
Yeah, I believe so. It isn't because sometimes
you need to keep up to date with it in a way, I guess.
For me, it just feels like because I've taken that programming away from myself for 7 or 8 years, something like that, since I started to really think that waking up needs to happen. You realise you're asleep, and you realise that this mainstream media is part of it. So let's see what happens when I take it away. And you just become so alienated. Everyone you can't relate to these people anymore because they're still plugged into it.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe I should just plug myself back into it, but I don't want to do that.
It makes life easier.
Yeah, it would make life easier. But I believe that I can find true peace and true happiness by going through this crazy period. It's not about getting to the bottom of conspiracy theories. It's not about pointing the finger of blame. It's just about getting away from all that stuff. And all it does is it just keeps you kind of tied to that paradigm, the thing we're talking about, where how can we have all of this intelligence at our disposal, all of these resources, all of this energy, and it seems like we're just squandering it, and it seems like we've got a system that if it was just organised differently with a more intelligent purpose to it, we'd solve all of mankind's problems. There's something deliberately
impeding that. Yeah,
keeping it down, keeping a lid on it. And all I want to do, and this is all that happens to anyone who goes into the conspiratorial way of thinking, there's certain things that I'm certain that 9/11 was done like this. I don't really know what the Earth is, but there's definitely something not quite right about the pictures they're showing us. But all you really need to learn is that it doesn't fucking matter. You just come away from that. All you need to do is find your truth and find your happiness. And it's not about going out there on the internet and getting lost in conspiracy land. It's just about going, do you know what? I know the mainstream are talking bollocks, and that's why I'm not listening anymore.
Yeah, that's good.
What do you reckon?
I'm saying down this way.
Down there, unless...
It's a bit of a downhill, even though it's not really...
Yeah, and it's not like a super dodgy trail, so we can actually fucking...
Actually let loose a little bit.
Holy shit! Woohoo! That's dodgy. Ah! Yeah, that's more my thing. Both me and the bike can handle that.
Fell off in that part, yeah.
Really lost it. And I had my glasses hooked on here and they were coming off. Do you know what this one's like? Will I get down it with panniers?
Not too bad.
Doesn't look too bad, does it? Roots. Right, how do we negotiate that?
Head first over handlebars.
You went over the handlebars?
Yeah.
You went over the bars, Ed?
Yeah, and then the front wheel sort of got stuck in a bog. So, okay, I have to accept this.
We'll get at the top of this hill and see where we are. Maybe just run up there for the view. Is that a trail feature?
Yeah.
So this is Puddletown Forest, ladies and gentlemen. Somewhere I've never explored. It's actually really pleasant. I think there's going to be a nice view from the top as well. Yeah, that'll do for a view.
It's crazy that I haven't been here for years, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how I've been past here so many times, but never really been into this bit. I've been into all the other woods between Wareham and like around Bovington. I know that area really well. Never really brought it in here. You obviously got nothing breakable in that thing. Yeah, I sort of wish I'd gotten into mountain biking a lot younger. Sort of when you can't really break bones.
Yeah.
Because now it's like
both biological advantage and the physical, like invincibility, and the mental
Yeah.
invincibility.
Yeah.
Complex.
I don't know, I like the touring side of things, and I like camping, I like being self-sufficient.
We could continue going in the centre path and just seeing where it goes.
See where this one goes. Oh yes. I think up the left there.
Almost when I experimented with other things like eating fish again, I just felt like I don't know if you experienced this, but just a rush of energy. And like you say, that's maybe my belief, but I was sort of very tentative to eat it. Like I ate some tuna and I just went like...
When I quit, the first thing I ate was some eggs from the farm, which is this is a rescue centre, so these eggs are just a byproduct of animals living their natural life.
Yeah.
So that was pretty easy. And the next thing I was like, okay, so I didn't feel any ill effects from it. And I thought, the next thing I'm going to try is some meat, but I want to get the stuff that's been shot. So it died in an instant. No, there's no drugs in it. It wasn't stressful. Didn't go to the slaughterhouse. It's about as ethical as you can get meat. I tried that and I did feel something from that. Like something in me came alive. I didn't feel like it was me, but then I have experienced, you know, what they vaguely label dissociative disorder tendencies, dissociating from what we call reality, dissociating from the body. So that thing that came alive maybe was my body. It was like, oh my God, it's been so long. But also, there's a lot more life in a wild animal that's been shot and killed by a hunter than there is. I know it's dead. There's a lot more life in it still than something that's spent its whole life growing up on a farm.
That whole sort of karmic idea of it, of like the memories of that animal that you can see.
Yeah, yeah. And the animals live like slaves. You know, look at it.
Yeah.
People are eating animals that live in stalls, live in sheds for, you know, you're getting the real low quality mass produced stuff. They never even see a field, some of them. And you're taking that frequency into your body. It's not going to do any favours. It's going to make it easier to acquiesce to a life where you're kind of treated like cattle as well yourself. So
it's an interesting one because you're sort of subconsciously, energetically accepting that goes on in the world. Even if you're not talking about the consumption of it, by sort of buying it, you're sort of accepting that, oh yeah, that's normal.
if we'll just so casually walk into the supermarket and pick this thing up, that's a world of different from how our ancestors did it, where they risked their life and limb to bring down this animal. And when they got it, the feeling they got, like, oh my God, I fed my whole family for the next week, 2 weeks. The risk they took and the reward they got from it, how different is that from doing your 9-to-5 slave job, then going in, taking your credit card into the, it's all wrapped in plastic, you pay for it with plastic, completely different. It's all about energy exchanged. And the system's geared up, so there's just not a lot of energy in it, or at least what energy should be in it is just being siphoned away.
It's a fascinating, line of discussion.
It's a crazy train of thought.
Yeah.
But it's like I say, it's not important about finding the answers or getting to the conclusion. It's just about, okay, I know that, so let's just let that piece of information sit in my consciousness, and let's see how it changes my behaviour. Let's see how it alters my outlook.
And treating it almost like a game, and being stoic, like a stoic observer almost of the actions, I guess, when different views come into mind. Yeah,
that's it. You don't need to react, right? You can't. If you do something from a place of reaction, you've already kind of.
Well, I feel like that's the there's like so many sub-communities of like stoicism and YouTube videos on it and stuff. I think it's because our
that's detachment, right? Detachment from everything.
I think it's sort of like more, like detachment from the situation and being more sort of, what would you say, like objective about it rather than just instantly reacting and being reactionary. And maybe the rise of that is just because our society just makes us such. You know what I mean? We are so reactionary. We're so like prone to being shocked by like a video on Facebook and then repeating it like repeating what we know. And
certainly your state of consciousness has a lot to do with it. If you react strongly to something, you're doing so from a lower state of consciousness.
I definitely catch myself doing it a lot, you know what I mean? And you have to, but it's good that I'm waking up to that and realising, hey, wait a minute.
Because as soon as you do that, you're stepping away from that reaction, from that automatic thought, That's no longer you. You disidentify from it.
Even though I did it, yeah, it's an interesting.
Even though it's, well, no, it's not I did it. It took place in my, what feels like it took place in my brain. It's in my awareness, but it's not me because I'm observing it. So I'm separate from that thought.
Yeah, the Eckhart Tolle thing again.
Yeah, 100% Eckhart Tolle. Yeah, but he's by far and away. It's been people have been talking about it for thousands of years. Buddhism.
Yeah.
He just read Buddhism and just updated it. That's all Eckhart Tolle's done, and he says the same himself. Oh man. We've got some people ahead, people on the trail. Oh yes! Oh my god! Oh, there's another one. Well, there we go. That was moderately perilous. A bit of a challenge, this section. Fuck. Oh my god, foot in the mud. Right, I think it'd be a bloody miracle if I can get up it. We'll give it a go. Something's not quite right. Oh, it's the little stick. So what we're going to do now is just bomb down that steep thing we climbed up. Head out the forest, go back to Potter Town and head our separate ways. Although I do get sprayed constantly with the mud coming off your wheel. Whoa, oh my god. Damn, there's a nice skid. You think that's it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. There's a main road all across here, and apparently there's a back road here and a footbridge or something that we can use to get across. Well, I never knew this was here.
Yeah, very convenient.
It's going to be the farmer's bridge, isn't it? So when they put the road in, they'd have had to build in this bridge, wouldn't they? Right, Ed, I think this is the end of the line for me.
I go this way and then along, I guess, yeah.
I think, yeah, you go that way, and you'll find the road in the bottom of that valley. I can see it there.
Brilliant to meet you, man.
Yeah, it's great to meet you again.
Yeah, definitely. Good luck on the Avalon adventure.
Yeah.
And yeah, great discussions in the forest.
Stay tuned because it's going to all be on the tube hopefully, if everything goes to plan anyway.
All right,
Sound. Yeah,
enjoy your content.
nice one.
Nice.
Take it easy, brother.